Good evening. This is Channel 13 News, serving the tri-state area since 1962. I'm Donna Davenport. In tonight's top story, officials continue investigating reports surrounding the disappearances near Blackwood County. Residents are urged not to approach. Good evening, Sinister Seekers. You found us. Or maybe we found you. Tonight marks the first official transmission from Channel 13, broadcasting from the haunted halls of Studio Sinister, where the lights still flicker, the walls still breathe, and every locked room seems to remember who died inside it. The tape I'm about to play came from a box beneath the floorboards of Studio B. No station markings, no air date, no production notes. Just 3 words written across the lid in black grease pencil. Dead air. Inside the box were 2 VHS tapes, 1 cracked cassette, and a handwritten warning on the back of an old broadcast log. It said, "Do not air this again." Naturally, I'm airing it. What you are about to hear is believed to be the final recording of a late-night paranormal television special called Rivers After Dark, filmed in October of 1985. The host was Rick Vane. If that name means nothing to you, count yourself blessed. Rick was the kind of television man the 80s produced in bulk. Loud suit, cheap cologne, big teeth, bigger ego. He smiled like a salesman, talked like a tabloid headline, and treated tragedy like a ratings category. He built a career dragging grieving families, psychics, investigators, and alleged witnesses in front of cameras, then humiliating them while America watched from the couch with a TV dinner getting cold in their lap. Rick did not believe in ghosts. He believed in lighting. He did not believe in evil. He believed in ad breaks. He did not believe the dead could talk until Channel 13 gave him a microphone. Roll the tape. Good evening, night owls, insomniacs, drunks, divorcees, conspiracy freaks, and everyone whose life went wrong enough to be watching television at this hour. I'm Rick Vane, and tonight, Rivers After Dark is coming to you live from the abandoned Channel 13 broadcast station. That's right. The same Channel 13 that went dark after 5 employees died during a late-night broadcast in 1979. Since then, this place has become a magnet for teenage vandals, amateur ghost hunters, local weirdos, and people who think buying a crystal necklace gives them a personality. Tonight, we are going to do what this show does best. We are going to walk straight into America's favorite haunted dump and separate fact from folklore. Or at least squeeze enough panic out of it to beat Carson in the ratings. Behind camera one, we have Danny Price, who still owes me $20 and has the survival instincts of a moth in a bug zapper.
Love you too, Rick.
Running audio tonight is Lisa Moreno, who has already complained about the smell 6 times. Because something's dead in here. That's called local television, honey. And joining us is paranormal researcher Arthur Vale, author of 6 books nobody bought unless they were trapped in an airport gift shop during a layover.
Mock me all you want. This station should have been demolished years ago.
And miss all this charm? Come on, Arthur. Peeling paint, black mold, possible asbestos. It's practically a honeymoon suite for people with poor judgment.
I'm not listening.
That is why God invented editors. Rick stood beneath the broken front awning of Channel 13 with rain dripping off his hair and soaking into the shoulders of his burgundy blazer. He wore a grin too white for the dark, the kind of grin that sold miracle diets, fake psychics, and one very unfortunate special about celebrity alien implants. Behind him, the station loomed against the storm. The building had once been proud in the way small-town television stations used to be proud. Brick face, steel letters, a tower stabbing up into the black sky. Now the bricks were cracked. The windows were blind with dust. The Channel 13 sign above the entrance buzzed weakly, flashing in uneven bursts of red light. 13, darkness. 13, darkness. Like the building was blinking awake.
We good, Lisa?
Audio's live. Getting some weird bleed on the left channel, though. Bleed is good. Bleed sounds expensive. No, I mean actual interference, like another signal under ours. That's because this place is a radio station, Lisa. Try to stay with us.
Channel 13 was not only television. They ran emergency broadcast tests, late-night radio relays, storm alerts, community call-ins. The whole building is wired like a nervous system.
Fantastic. A haunted nervous system. That is exactly the kind of phrase that makes lonely people mail you checks. Arthur stepped closer, rain running down the deep lines around his eyes.
The last broadcast did not end normally.
Rick's grin thinned, but only for a second. Well, then I guess we are here to give it some closure. He turned toward the camera and lifted a ring of rusted keys. Shall we? The front door opened with the long, swollen complaint of wood that had been damp for too many years. A breath of cold air rolled out of the station and carried with it a smell Lisa had been right about. Something old, something wet, something that had died in a sealed room and been left there until the building learned to hide it. They stepped inside. Their flashlights moved over cracked tile, fallen ceiling panels, dead insects and framed photographs hanging crooked on the lobby wall. The faces in the photographs belonged to smiling anchors, weathermen, camera operators, and station managers, all frozen in the soft orange glow of old promotional portraits. One photo near the center had been turned around to face the wall. Danny noticed it first.
Hey, Rick, look at this.
Unless it's my Emmy, keep walking.
No, I'm serious.
Danny reached toward the frame. Arthur grabbed his wrist before he touched it.
Don't.
What the hell?
That is Marlene Fitch. She was floor director during the final broadcast.
Was she the one who died in the chair Or the one who ran through the window? Arthur stared at him.
She was the one they found behind the master control board.
See, this is exactly why people watch my show. Specificity. Lisa's voice crackled through Rick's earpiece. Oh, Rick, your mic just spiked. I didn't say anything. I know. A thin sound slipped through the audio feed. At first, it was almost nothing, just a flutter beneath the static. Then it sharpened into a woman's voice. Turn it off. Danny lowered the camera. Rick looked straight into the lens and smiled. Ladies and gentlemen, we are officially 20 feet into the building, and already the ghosts have union representation.
You need to stop joking.
No, Arthur, you need better material. They moved deeper into the station. The lobby gave way to a long hallway lined with offices, production rooms, storage closets, and doors marked with peeling black letters. Sales, editing, newsroom, Studio A, Studio B. The fluorescent lights overhead should not have worked. The station had been without power for years, yet every few seconds, one tube flickered to life and painted the hallway in sickly white. Flash, dark. Flash, dark. At the far end of the corridor stood a woman in a hospital gown. Danny froze. The camera caught only a glimpse at first. Pale skin, wet black hair, bare feet on dirty tile. One hand pressed flat to the wall. Then the hallway went dark. Danny, why did the picture cut?
It didn't cut. The lights just went out.
Keep rolling. The lights came back. The hallway was empty. Rick clapped slowly. Very nice. Very theatrical. Arthur, did you bring her, or did the building book its own talent?
That was not one of mine.
Rick's smile faltered again. Only for a second. Then the performer came back. That, dear viewers, is what we call atmosphere. Every respectable haunted location needs a lady in white, preferably one with a tragic backstory, damp hair, and no agent.
Rick, she was real.
Danny, the only real thing in television is the invoice. They reached Studio B. The doors stood open. Studio B looked like someone had left in the middle of a broadcast and expected to come back after lunch. 3 cameras still stood on the floor. A wooden desk sat under a dead lighting grid. Coiled cables snaked across the ground. A faded backdrop showed the Channel 13 logo against painted stars, clouds, and a crooked skyline that looked cheerful in the most depressing way possible. On the desk sat a single microphone. Its red light was on. Lisa's voice came back through Rick's earpiece, thinner now. Rick, I'm getting signal from inside that ring. From what? That microphone. Rick looked at it. It isn't connected. I know. For the first time all night, nobody spoke. Then the microphone produced a soft pop. A man's voice came out of the studio monitors. Stand by. 5, 4, 3, 2. Okay. He laughed once, too sharply. That one was good.
That was Leonard Briggs.
Of course it was.
He was the producer working the final broadcast.
Let me guess. Dead?
They found his tongue in the talkback speaker.
Silence settled over the room. Rick stared at Arthur, then turned toward the camera with a smile that had begun to rot at the edges. Folks, if you're just tuning in, Arthur Vale has brought us a charming little bedtime story about a man whose tongue was apparently removed by bad acoustics. Stay tuned. After the break, we'll learn whether ghosts prefer cable or rabbit ears. Lisa cut in. Rick, we are going to break. What? I can't switch feeds. Control board is locked. Well, then unlock it. I'm trying. Rick, what now? We're broadcasting. Rick blinked. We were already broadcasting. Not on our channel. The monitors around Studio B flickered on one by one. Every screen showed Rick. Not live. Not exactly. On the monitors, Rick stood in Studio B with blood on his face. His eyes were wide. His mouth opened and closed without sound. Then the screen cut to black. A title card appeared. Rivers After Dark. Final transmission. Rick stared at the words.
Rick?
Keep the camera on me.
Are you kidding?
Keep the damn camera on me. This was the moment Rick Vane made the last mistake of his life. He could have left. They all could have left. The front door was behind them. The storm was outside. The road was ugly, but it was there. But Rick had spent 20 years confusing attention with oxygen. If the world stopped watching, he did not know how to breathe. So when Channel 13 showed him his own bloody face on a dead television screen, Rick did not run. He stepped closer. Ladies and gentlemen, it appears Channel 13 has decided to produce its own programming.
Rick, listen to me. Whatever this is, it is responding to you.
Good. I've always wanted a responsive audience. The studio monitors changed again. This time they showed an old newsroom, 1979. The picture was warped and color faded, but the image was clear enough. A young anchorwoman sat behind a desk, reading from papers with trembling hands. Behind her, the studio lights swung violently from the ceiling. We are experiencing technical difficulties. Please remain calm. Off camera, someone screamed. The anchorwoman looked toward the sound. Please, someone help him. Something wet struck the camera lens. The screen filled with red. Lisa whispered into the headset. I don't want to be here anymore. Then stop watching the monitor. I'm not. Behind Rick, the microphone on the Studio B desk slowly turned toward him. No hand touched it.
Rick!
What?
The mic.
Rick turned. The red light brightened. A woman's voice spoke from the microphone. You laugh when she baked. Rick's expression changed. Only Arthur noticed.
Who is she talking about?
Nobody. You told her grief made good television. Danny lowered the camera slightly.
Rick!
Shut up! The monitors flickered. A new image appeared. A living room. A woman in her 60s sitting under studio lights, clutching a tissue in both hands. A younger Rick Vane sat across from her in a blue suit, smiling with all the warmth of a knife. The date stamp read 1982. Mrs. Calder, your daughter claimed she saw a dead man in her bedroom for 3 nights before she disappeared. Now, isn't it true she also had a history of mental illness? She was scared. That isn't what I asked. She called me crying. And yet, There was no ghost. No evidence, no body, just a missing girl and a mother willing to blame the supernatural because the truth was too ugly. The older woman began sobbing. There it is, folks. Tragedy, tears, and denial. The footage froze on Mrs. Calder's face. In Studio B, Rick's skin had gone pale beneath the makeup.
You knew her.
I interviewed hundreds of people. You fed on them. I made television. So did we. The room erupted. The studio lights snapped on with a sound like bones breaking. White heat flooded the space. Danny shouted and shielded his eyes. Arthur stumbled backward into a camera stand. Rick covered his face, but the lights followed him, narrowing, sharpening, pinning him to the center of the room. Lisa's voice came through the headset, panicked now. Rick, something's in master control. Get out of there. Door won't open. It's playing tapes. What tapes? Lisa began crying. All of them. All of them. Behind Rick, the monitors showed rows of shelves, hundreds of VHS tapes, thousands maybe, each spine labeled by hand. Marlene Fitch, Leonard Briggs, Samuel Cole, Mrs. Calder, Danny Price. Danny saw his name. His voice cracked.
Why is my name on one of those?
It's fake.
No,
Arthur turned slowly toward the monitors.
it records endings.
What does that mean?
It keeps the moment.
Oh, shut up! Arthur stepped toward Rick.
This place is not haunted by people, Rick. It is haunted by broadcasts. Every death, every scream, every last second caught in the signal and played back until there's nothing left of the person but fear.
The monitors clicked again. A tape began to play. This one showed Danny. Not now. Minutes from now. He was running down the hallway. His camera swung wildly. Something pulled him backwards by the legs. His fingernails split against the tile as he clawed for grip. Danny watched himself scream without sound. Then his head struck the floor once, twice, 3 times. On the third impact, the screen went black. Danny dropped the camera.
No.
Rick grabbed him by the jacket. Pick it up.
Are you insane?
Pick up the damn camera, Danny.
You saw that.
I saw a cheap scare.
That was me.
And if you don't pick up that camera, your career dies before you do. Danny stared at him. For one clean second, everybody saw Rick Vane clearly. No charm, no grin, no host. Just a small, vicious man who would shove someone into a grave if the lighting was good. Danny picked up the camera. They should have left then. Even Rick should have been afraid enough. But the building had learned something about him. It had learned that shame worked better than locks. The hallway outside Studio B stretched longer than it had before. Doors stood open on both sides. Behind each one, an old television glowed in the dark. The screens showed moments from Rick's career. A crying father, a terrified boy, a widow mocked for hearing her dead husband through a radio, a young woman who claimed something followed her home from a cemetery, only for Rick to laugh and ask if the thing had at least paid rent. One by one, the people on the screens turned their heads toward him. That is not possible.
That never stopped it before.
The woman in the hospital gown appeared at the far end of the hall. Her wet hair clung to her face. She lifted one hand and pointed at Rick. You told them nobody would believe me. Rick backed away.
You know her too?
Rick said nothing. The camera light flickered. The woman vanished. Then Lisa screamed, Lisa! It's in the booth! The headset filled with crashing equipment, snapping plastic, and Lisa's breath coming too fast. There's someone behind the glass. Get out! I can't, Rick, I can't! A wet, tearing sound cut through the feed. Lisa made a noise that was not a scream at first. It was worse. Confused, hurt, like her body had received information her brain could not translate. Then came the scream. It rose and tore apart into static. The monitors showed master control. Lisa was pressed against the glass from the inside. Her eyes were open. Her mouth was stretched wide around a black tangle of videotape spilling from her throat. It kept coming. Yard after yard of glossy magnetic ribbon jerking out of her like something inside her was rewinding. Danny vomited on the floor. Arthur crossed himself. Rick staggered backward. The microphone above the control board clicked on. Audio's live, Rick. For the first time that night, Rick ran, not with dignity, not with purpose. He ran like a man who had finally realized the joke had teeth. Danny followed, camera bouncing, breath ragged. Arthur shouted for them to stay together, but fear broke the group into pieces. The hallways shifted around them. Studio doors opened into storage closets. Editing rooms led back into the lobby. The lobby became Studio B again. Channel 13 did not obey architecture anymore. It obeyed broadcast order. Code open. Setup. Escalation. Final act. Rick burst into an archive room lined floor to ceiling with VHS tapes. Every tape had a name. Every tape had a date. Some were old, some were recent. Some had not even happened yet. On the center table sat a tape deck. A cassette ejected. Rick read the label. Rick Vane, final transmission. He whispered the first honest words he had spoken all night. Please. Every television in the room turned on. They showed Rick from every angle. Rick entering the station. Rick mocking Arthur. Rick laughing at Mrs. Calder. Rick telling Danny to keep filming. Rick watching Lisa die. Then the screens changed. They showed what came next. Rick tied to the broadcast chair in Studio B, his burgundy blazer soaked black with blood, his jaw hanging wrong, his eyes fixed on something above him. He was alive. He was begging. On every monitor, future Rick mouthed one word. No. Rick backed away from the screens. No. The archive room, doors slammed shut. A red on-air sign lit above him. The intercom crackled. Stand by, Rick screamed. When Danny found him, Rick was already strapped to the old chair in Studio B. Nobody had tied the knots. The cables had done it. Black cords coiled around his wrists, ankles, chest, and throat, tightening in slow pulses. The boom microphone hung inches from his mouth. The studio lights blazed down so brightly His skin had begun to blister. Danny stood in the doorway, sobbing behind the camera.
Rick, I'm sorry.
Rick strained against the cables. Help me, you idiot!
I can't.
Put the camera down!
You told me not to.
That landed harder than any curse could have. Arthur appeared behind Danny, pale and shaking.
Rick?
Rick turned toward him. Do something! I tried to warn you. Don't give me that sanctimonious bullshit! Get me out of this chair! The monitors behind him flickered to life. Mrs. Calder appeared on one screen. Lisa on another. The woman in white on a third. Marlene Fitch, Leonard Briggs. Dozens of faces, hundreds. People Rick had mocked, people the station had kept, people whose pain had been edited, packaged, sponsored, and sold. The microphone lowered closer to Rick's lips. Smile. Rick began to cry.
I'm sorry.
The studio waited. The words hung there, small and useless. Mrs. Calder leaned closer to her screen. That isn't what I asked. The first cable entered Rick's mouth. Not shoved, not forced. It slid in like a black tongue. Rick gagged and bucked against the chair. His cheeks bulged. His eyes watered. The cable pushed deeper, feeding itself down his throat inch by inch, while the microphone caught every wet, choking sound. Danny sobbed but kept filming. The cable under Rick's jaw tightened. Arthur looked away. Rick's hands jerked against the restraints. His fingernails tore backward against the metal arms of the chair. Blood ran down his wrists in thin red lines. The studio monitors displayed a title card. Rivers After Dark Season Finale. Rick tried to scream, but the cable had taken his voice. Then the second cable came. It moved toward his right eye. Slowly, lovingly. Like the station wanted America to see the close-up. Danny dropped to his knees.
Please stop.
The cable pierced Rick's eye with a soft pop. His body arched so hard the chair legs scraped across the floor. The on-air sign burned red. The camera zoomed in by itself. Rick's remaining eye stared directly into the lens. For 1 second, he looked exactly like every person he had ever cornered under studio lights. Terrified, humiliated, powerless. The station finally gave him what he had given everyone else, a close-up. The broadcast ended at 3:13 a.m. No network ever admitted receiving the feed, but across 3 states, viewers reported waking to a dead channel filled with screaming. Some said they saw a man in a red blazer begging through a mouth packed with cables. Others claimed the screen showed nothing but an empty studio chair slowly turning toward the camera. Danny Price was found outside the station at dawn, barefoot, bleeding, and carrying a camera with no tape inside. He never worked in television again. Arthur Vail disappeared 6 months later while researching the Channel 13 archive. Lisa Moreno's body was never recovered. As for Rick Vane, police found no body, no blood trail, and no evidence that he had left the station. But in Studio B, on the desk beneath the microphone, investigators found one fresh VHS tape. The label was handwritten. Rick Vane, Final Transmission. And that Sinister Seekers was dead air. Funny thing about men like Rick Vane, they spend their whole lives putting pain on display, convinced the suffering belongs to someone else. But Channel 13 has a way of correcting bad programming. It does not care how big your smile is. It does not care how loud your voice gets. Sooner or later, the station finds your angle. And when that red light comes on, you better hope the camera isn't pointed at you. This has been Tales from Channel 13, presented by Studio Sinister. Lost tapes, forgotten broadcast, stories still trapped in the static. Until the next transmission, keep your radios low, your doors locked, and whatever you do, do not touch that dial.